The Defence Secretary PhilipHammond arrives in Cuba later for a two-day visit, which marks a further warming of relations between Havana and the rest of the world. It's the first visit by a British Secretary of State for over 40 years. President Obama went there last month, ending decades of hostility between Cuba and the US, and at one stage threatened to cause a nuclear war. Well, Dr. Helen Yaffe is a fellow in economic history at the London School of Economics and joins us now live from central London. Why is PhilipHammond going?
Well, relationship with Britain has been improving gradually over the years, but I think that they see an opportunity to engage with Cuba on a number of levels in various different sectors. Economic, in Cuba's very world-leading biotechnology sector. There's the opportunity for developing a relationship with the Mariel Special Development Zone. So there may possibly be a feeling that with the likelihood that what remains the substantial issues of the United States embargo against Cuba, the likelihood that that will be removed, there is a move by several European countries, in Britain among them, to start to improve that relationship further, to be well placed when US competitors arrive with the end of the embargo.
Who benefits more from this relationship? Would it be the UK or would it be Cuba?
Well, in fact, you would assume that it would be Cuba, because the United States is a wealthier country, but that's not necessarily the case. Particularly in terms of its biotechnology sector, Cuba has a great deal to offer the world. The media has been covering recently the very welcomed introduction in this country of a meningitis B vaccine as a sort of standard procedure, free for all babies at this stage. Well, in Cuba, they've had a meningitis B vaccine, which is delivered free for the entire population as part of their routine immunizations and vaccine program since the 1980s. So, as I said, there are sectors where Cuba has a lot to offer the world. And also, Cuba does need capital for investments. It needs to update its infrastructure. It has the Mariel Special Development Zone, where there is a need for road construction, port construction, and so on. It also is developing innovative technologies with biogas, renewable energies, and so on. So I think that this is certainly an exchange which could be beneficial to both parties.
Obama's visit was the big one, wasn't it, for the Cubans? I mean, do you think PhilipHammond's visit will get much coverage there? Do you think that there will be as much interest and curiosity in him coming to Cuba as there is for us watching him go there?
Well, the relationship with the United States is much more significant for many reasons: geography, history. In terms of the United States being the main sort of aggressor against Cuba, or the main country that has been involved in hostilities with Cuba. But there will be interest in Britain, a British minister at this level visiting Cuba. One of the largest groups of tourists who visit Cuba at present are from Britain. So Cubans know British people, they meet lots of British people, and there will no doubt be lots of British people sitting in hotels in Cuba watching the news of Hammond's visit. But also Cuba has been very keen to try to diversify its trade and relationships around the world. And in fact, the European Union is Cuba's second biggest investor group. And at the moment, British exports to Cuba are only 1/5 of Cuban exports to Britain. So clearly there is a lot of scope for British businesses to seek a market in Cuba. There are many goods that Cuba cannot get from the United States because of the embargo, despite it being its closest neighbour, and they have to seek those goods elsewhere. So, from that perspective, this is important for Cuba.
Okay, Dr. Helen Yaffe from LSE, thank you very much.
Thank you.